Nailed it. Look at that. I did it properly. Look at that. Fuck me, I'm good. That was a lot of practice. Anyway, so here I am. I hope you can hear me. Doing this because it's been a bit of a mental couple of weeks, actually. For me, I've not done much other than attend court and work a lot of hours to get stuff done, and I'm still behind. So doing this sort of thing is probably more to make sure I can reach out to an audience that are calling me, asking me the most relevant question at the moment, which is ultimately, what do we do if what do we do? Hang on. Can you see me now, Marcus? Are you happy now, Marcus? Are you happy now? So you can basically, there's lots of this is going one of two ways. People could watch this and people could take advantage of the information that I'm about to give, or people could watch this. I forgot to go live on there. Or people could watch this and ultimately just try and unfortunately take advantage of what everyone says. But it's out there. It's common. It's news out there, so it's not going to be anything that's not already out in public domain. So when you're in family court, right, and obviously there's been a lot of cases happening recently, whereby we have had loads of cases coming through. A lot of them have to do with people taking the children out of the country, moving jurisdiction, that sort of stuff. And I think what's really important to remember when you're doing this is there's been cases that have happened very similar to yours, whether it be moving from village to another town, or whether it be moving to a different country. And I think what you really need to look at, and don't be sold the dream by any Mackenzie friend, by any solicitor, by anyone, basically, because what I'm about to tell you is out there, and I'm not saying that this is the only way. I'm not saying this will be the result for every single application that is made for a parent to move jurisdiction, whether it be from country or county. What I am saying though is it sets precedent. So on what's going on and what your decision will be. Now, back in 2000 and whatever it was, there was a case that was appealed by a guy. Now let's just talk about this. Rewind this for a second. Stick with structure, Jason. Stick with structure. The cat's doing my head in. So the structure is right, basically case law. So when you're in court, when you're going through court process, right, you need to know that you need to show that you're knowledgeable. You need to show that you're knowledgeable of what's going on around you. Yeah. And what you're knowledgeable of the law. So using case law reminds the judge that you're a human being and you are aware of previous cases that have happened that are similar to your case. And using case law can work in your advantage, and it can also work as a detriment to you, because if you're not using it properly, the solicitors can find holes in the cases that you use and then flick it back around on you. But one thing they do use, and case law is basically other cases that, just so we know, other cases that have been heard that are of a similar nature to the case that you're actually in yourself. And it's really important that you do, if you're going through court process, that you use case law where possible, especially on your final hearing, in your final as a contested hearing, whatever it might be. But there's a case called that Kafkas referred to, and the courts use heavily. It was an appeal that was made in the High Courts, the Supreme Court of Judiciary, Appeal Court for Civil Division, in Cambridge County Court. Woo, see that? See what happens. It all goes on in Cambridge, isn't it? It all goes on. But ultimately, you've got the judge's findings. So at the end of every single hearing, you're going to have, at the end of a single case, you're going to have the judge's findings. So the judge has to justify what decisions he's made and why he or she has made those decisions. And it's like a book. Some of them are like a book. And this one that I'm about to go through is obviously, it's like a book. But it's going to set precedent. And so it's not. I'm not saying this if you're in a situation now where you've got your partner who has made an application or was thinking about making an application to leave county or leave the country. This doesn't mean that you're naturally that this result is going to be the same, because that's why people complain that there's no continuity or consistency in family law, because ultimately every family is different, and every situation, although it might be the same, in broad aspects of it, it's not actually the same, because there's different elements within it as well. So it's what you need to be aware of. So this is a basis of what Kafkas will refer to. Oh, that was stupid fucking camera. What Kafkas will refer to, and it's the basis of what the court will refer to as well. But so knowing this information, you can give you the knowledge to combat it and look out for because solicitors will be telling the clients about this when they go in, saying what they want to do. It's the go-to thing for everyone. And it's called Payne Vs Payne. Yeah, that's Payne is in Payne, and it's Payne, both of them. Obviously, they're a married couple. It was an appeal permission, basically, but the dad appealed the decision that was made to give permission for the mum to leave England and to go to New Zealand. This was back in 2001. And I think he appealed his decision, and there's the facts that it has to go through. Now, the facts that the judge has put onto here is, I'm going to go through a few of them because I need to sort of fill an hour. I don't need to fill an hour, I could get this done in half hour. But I'm not going to go through the whole lot because ultimately we'll be here forever. And I'm sure some of you it's Saturday night, but this might be the highlight of your Saturday night. So if it is, thanks. So ultimately, so what we've got here, so you've got the transcript, you've got the judge's findings, yeah. So they set out the top, they set out to start with the facts behind the case, right? And they set out like they're telling a story. Judge has said in his careful reserved judgment into 3 distinct periods, with the scene shifting from England to New Zealand and then back to England, and the summary which follows is closely based on the judge's judgment. So it's not the judge's words, it's closely assessed by it. So the father's British, 33, from Newmarket, works and he earns around between £40,000 and £50,000 a year. So this is an average family. This is an average middle-class family, yeah? Mother's a citizen of New Zealand. She is 28 years old. She comes from North Shore, suburb in Auckland, and her mother is present with us. The mothers are basically over there in New Zealand waiting for her. She earns about £21,000 a year. Mother came to London when she was in her early 20s and obtained a job at the bank. She stayed there until 1996, and then basically the family started deteriorating. They had problems at home soon after the birth of their child, and it's always, if you not noticed this, it's always after the birth of a child, because what we find ourselves, I'm digressing a bit here, but what do you not find that sometimes we clearly, if it's after the birth of a child, would we not think that we know the person that we're married to or having a child with? Then after the birth of the child, when things get a little bit tense and tight, and you're going without your sex, and you're going without your sleep, and you're going without everything, then your communication breaks down, and then that's when things don't start. That's when things don't go well. That's the beginning of the end, ultimately. In some of them, anyway. But yeah, so she wants to go back to New Zealand. She's got a house and selling the house, and it's put on the market, so it's still not sold. Parents definitely decided to go abroad, but there's a conflict of evidence in the first instance hearings. In the first instance, the hearing to New Zealand, mother's case was that they would like to all live in New Zealand after the husband first carried out a contact in Kuala Lumpur. Well, that was exciting. Basically, the guardianships out there. So this is all just the basic facts. On May the 4th, 1999, Judge O'Donovan ordered that S should be returned to the United Kingdom, and she travelled back from Malaysia Airlines. So basically, they come back. So they've gone out there. They've been ordered to come back. They've come back again. So this is like a game of cat and mouse, isn't it? Now, surely. And then with that, they've come back then, and they've gone to a final hearing. Yeah. So the judges reserved everything. So they've obviously got all these little hearings in between all of that stuff. Now, this is the landmark one, which was in the 1970, which was Powell. That's what I was getting with the other day. So this is the Powell is the original one that this is set on. So Payne is the more recent one. But you've got to think, times change, right? And the reason some of these decisions are being made like this now versus what they were is because they class FaceTime calls as effective communication. What the falafels? How can that's not the same as having like a hug, is it, with your kid or whatever. But anyway, that's why they make these decisions, because you've got now, whereas before we didn't have, it was expensive to make a phone call to New Zealand. It was really expensive. and then obviously now you know, sometimes it doesn't even cost you anything. So that's why these decisions will go in ways that we don't want them to go always. But that's that. So then you've got I digress. I do that quite a lot. So basically, this case goes from all the places that I've lived. So it starts off in Cambridge, Newmarket, where I grew up. Plumstead, which is just around here. It's pointless information I'm giving you, but it's all relevant when you get to the end. Yeah, I've already mentioned the schedule of contact and ordered the court to extend it to the agreement for the parties. The point of pickup and return outside Redbridge Underground Station. Father is usually accompanied by paternal grandmother. So the usual third-party handovers are happening, and this is all nice and rosy. Yeah. Now, roll on a little bit, right? So when a marriage breaks up, situation normally arises where the child, we were talking about the separated parent family, so the child normally lives with mum. That's just the way it is, and that's how it was back in 1973 as well, and 1970, it's always the same. So, like in the case of Nash and all this other stuff, that you've got old cases that are referring to what would normally happen. So you've got like back in the olden days, but 70s, whatever, there was no, like I say, no internet, so there was no way of being able to allow potentially people moving to the other side of the world, because that would be nearly impossible to communicate with your child. The law, basically, that's what the law was back then as well. And then he adopted every single case that this judge has done previous to this one. It's gone in favour of the person staying within the surroundings. Not everyone, that's a bit of exaggeration. But then, okay, so there we are. I sympathise and understand where a lay person, such as the father, is concerned, the difficulty of reconciliation and concept of such a separation being the paramount interests of the child in the long term, but the long-term interests of the child revolve around establishing, as Griffiths LJ, as then he was, as Chamberlain, a sound, secure family unit, which the child should go forward and develop. If that can be supported by contact with the father, then it's immense advantage. But if it cannot, then it's no reason for diverting one's concentration from the essential and paramount issue of this case. So basically, screw your dad. Yeah, tap the top of your screen. What do I do? Tap the top of the screen. Yeah? What's that? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing that on there as well. So basically, right. So that's basically saying back in the day, still then, dad didn't have the say in whatever. If there was no, they see a family unit being mum and child. That's the reality. Yeah, it hasn't changed. Hasn't changed in all this time. The authorities and the law dictate a hard and difficult decision which must be made once it is established that the custodial parent genuinely desires to emigrate, and in circumstances in which there is nothing adverse to be found in the conditions to be expected, those authorities are quite clear in the course that the court must take, whatever the hardship and distress it may result. So basically, dad, you're fucked. You may not be, but you pretty much are in this case. And then things you come forward to like the 90s, yeah? And then you got the 1989 Act that got put in place, and this changed a lot of things, apparently. So the welfare of the children is paramount in consideration. Refusing the primary carers, which is always the mum, yeah, it's in 99% of the time, 9% of the time it's the mum. Refusing the primary care, this is back then, before, I know Vicky's watching, so she might get tell me off with some like proper stats there, but back then in whatever, that's when it was. Basically refusing the primary carer's reasonable proposals for relocation of her family, which is back then and still is now, the child and mum is the family life, likely to impact detrimentally the welfare of her dependent children. Therefore, her application to relocate will be granted unless the court concludes that it is incompatible with the welfare of the child. Are you with me now, people? Yeah? Do you not see how important what I just said there was? Right? This is the law. Refusing the primary carer's reasonable proposals for relocation of her family life is likely to impact detrimentally the welfare of the dependent children. Therefore, her application to relocate will be granted unless the court concludes it can be incompatible with the welfare of the children. Did you get that? So you have to go to court basically there and disprove that they're not able and compos mentis to be able to do that. And if they are able and compos mentis, then if that's the law, then unfortunately you've got to go to court and just try and organise the best contact order you can get. Not try and refuse the move because the law says you can move. The law says you're entitled to it unless you can prove that she's not of stable mind or parenting ability. And that's when it gets ugly. Yeah. The value of guidance, right? So a few guidelines which are detrimental cases, the facts that which are never replicated, have stood for so long in family law, where guidelines can be formulated that are obvious benefits. The opportunity for practitioners to give clear and confident advice to the outcome helps limit the volume of congested litigation. That's what we're saying. So basically, you being aware of this is education. Don't ever be sold. I mean, I remember my first case, and the reason I'm doing this because I remember my first case with doing it overseas, and funnily enough, it was New Zealand. And I said, I'll eat my socks. I said, I'll do that. No worries. There's nowhere in the world that they're letting a child. They're letting a child. They're letting a child. Someone's going on a ticket on that. They're letting a child do the relocation thing. And I said, no, never going to happen. But then they did. So basically, the main thing is the applicant is invariably the mother and the primary carer. Right? Generally, the motivation for her to move arises after her remarriage or an urge to return home. Fair point. She's a human. The father's opposition is commonly founded, and as a result, reduction in contact is influences. So this is what they're saying. They see this all the time. So furthermore, guidance is a sort of significant in the wider field of in-between family law. There is a clear interaction between the approach of courts and abduction cases in relocation cases. If individual jurisdiction adopts the chauvinistic approach to applications to relocate, then there is a risk that the parent affected will resort to flight. Conversely, recognition of the respect due to the primary carer's reasonable proposals for relocation. It encourages applications in place of unilaterally removal. Basically, they're saying that if they don't have the law, and that's how I'm interpreting that. If they don't have the law the way it is, giving women the pure right to move, then they will just disappear anyway. Basically, so there you go. So foundations of guidance. There's a whole load of other previous cases that you've gone through that you've got to go through there. And that, again, stacks up what you need to know when you're going to your solicitor, when you're going to your Mackenzie friend, when you're going anywhere and you're getting sold the dream of, yeah, we're going to do this. Yeah, well, it's really, you've got to be straight down the middle there and say how it is that the likelihood is, unless you can prove they are not a capable parent or they've got other stuff that's wrong with them, then they're going to be going. The impact of the statutory reform. So if changing perceptions of child welfare do not require the reformulation of the direction formulated by this court for the guidance of the trial, judges have statutory reforms. Prior to Children's Act 1989, relocation applications were brought either within the divorce suit, alternatively in wardship. With the advent of the Children's Act 1989, relocation applications have been brought either under Section 13, where there is a residence order in force, or under Section 8, they are therefore subject to the welfare paramountcy principle of Section 1, and therefore applications under Section 8 of the welfare checklist under Section 1.3, although technically an application brought under Section 13.1 is not subject to the welfare checklist, it has been held and it has been granted previously when you go down that route. So basically, they're just different ways that you can do that. Now, this is what happens here, right? There's a lot of fluff in there. This is cross applications. Yeah, this is what happens. Cross applications. Now, bear in mind, right? And this is what I've always said to people. You get it so much. Someone puts a piece of paper in. Oh, let me file it with another piece of paper. Let me file it with another piece of paper. And you put in more paperwork, and you put in more paperwork in, and then it just gets messy. And it's like, why do we need the paperwork? If they put an application in, they're going to be the applicant. You're going to be the respondent. If you're going to be the applicant and you're a man, even if you're the woman, in some cases, you're going to feel like and I've got female cases that are like this. You're going to feel like you're the applicant, but you're going to feel like you've done something wrong, and you're not the applicant. You're the criminal. You're the one under fire, under siege, because you put your application in. The person has the right to reply to that, and then because he has the right to reply to that, or she has the right to reply to that, they have to hear all those allegations as well. So those allegations will come in, and then you've got to hear all these allegations before you can actually get onto the child stuff. And when you're going through that stuff, that's when it gets messy. It's when the mudslinging goes, and that's where you need to try and stay away from the mudslinging. But then the cross applications, you get it in every single thing. Yeah. So for me, there's no point in making any. For me, there might be some technical person who's going to turn around and say, you need to do this. Yeah. There is probably reasons why you should put the forms in, but I call it hijacking the cases. Save yourself the money and don't worry about that. You're already in process. If there's a big change you want to make, then the judge will turn around and say, you need to make your own application. If it's not a big change, you can just generally add it in there, especially if you've got a good rapport with the judge. It's the cross applications, don't do them. I wouldn't. Right, so we're moving back to the case in hand, right? So basically, they've said in this instance, right, she had a strong argument, and she basically said she had no friends in the country anymore. So this woman from New Zealand, who's been here for 20 odd years, had no friends or family in the country. I can't believe that. I don't think anyone else can. I've had cases where they've said exactly the same stuff because they get told to say it from solicitors, which is why I don't really like solicitors, because they need to let the cases be the cases, not beef them up so they get extra sort of dirt and shit and throw it over each other, because it makes it all more complicated, and then it drags out the process and makes them more money, and it causes more divide within the family, which is not in the benefit of the children, is it? It only benefits the solicitor. But there you go. Just my viewpoints. So yeah, we're back on this, right? So before considering Mr. Crayford's other criticisms and submissions, I would like to pay tribute to the quality of Judge Langan's judgment. And in each and all of its compartments, clearly he's formed a broadly favourable view of the mother. Surprise, surprise. He said of her, I form the opinion that she is a woman who means what she says and will adhere to it. Find me a woman that doesn't. But many women actually say and do what they say they're going to do because they're forward thinking. Let's not forget, they've left us 6 months before emotionally, before they leave us physically, and they'll be still having sex with you in that time. Not that I've been in that situation, obviously. Of course I have. Within this assessment of mother's proposals, he made the crucial finding, right, which is finally the effect on the mother of being forced, this is the big one, being forced to stay in England would, in my judgment, be devastating. Having read and at length heard her evidence, I have no doubt that her unhappiness, sense of isolation and depression would be exacerbated to the degree which could well be damaging to S. So by that, there's given her permission to leave based on her own mental health and mental well-being. And everyone was uproar because it's not in the Children's Act. It's to benefit the mum. And it's like, oh, hang on a minute, it's to benefit the residing parent, which could, in this case, the mum. So uproar, but then there's reasons behind it, and he backs it up a little bit further down. He reached a conclusion, having recorded that inevitably the reduction of the father's contact, whilst noting that the factor might be mitigated by the father's ability to afford the fare to New Zealand 2 or 3 times a year and his capacity as self-employed contractor to organise his holidays. He got mugged off. He earns money, therefore because he earns too much, because he earns a lot of money, or 40 to 50,000 pounds a year, he can afford to buy plane tickets. I will endeavour to apply these principles to the situation that I have to consider. I will first set out the mother's proposals. I will then examine these proposals with a view to deciding whether they can be said to be reasonable. I will then set out and make findings about the father's objections. Finally, I will balance the objections against the proposals and what may be said in support of the proposals, and taking the welfare of S as a paramount consideration, decide whether the mother has made her case good enough or not. Well, I think we know what way this is going, don't we, gents? Ladies, gents, mums, dads, aunties, nieces, nephews, cousins. that creation shows that from reading the decisions that the court has put down there, basically the welfare of the child is more important. They're still saying the welfare of the child is really important, so because it's children's law. They don't give a damn when you're in children's law or when you're in family law. They don't give a damn about you. They don't give a damn about your ex. They don't give a damn about your argument. They care about getting your children, put them into foster care. They care a lot about that because there's money in there. So you need to down that conflict and down that fucking shit that you're going through with each other and put them children before you both, because they will take your children into foster care. I digress again. Sorry, I apologise. So, in conclusion, I may consider that subsidiary submissions, there can be little doubt that Judge Donovan formed less favourable view of the mother during the course of the proceedings in his court to determine whether she was wrongfully retaining S within the jurisdiction within the meaning of Article 3 of the Hague Convention. That leads Mr. Crayford to his proposition of a skeleton. That judge was bound by New Zealand court's findings of fact in Hague Convention proceedings by the doctrine of judiciary. Basically, then he's going to go through I'm not going to give you all that because I'm getting tired of this shit. But basically, you're going through all your dads, he's going through listening to all of the dad's bits of argument to make sure they stay. And, you can see that he's put in there some bits where she's gone wrong and tripped up with no doubt her exaggerated and fabricated stuff to get her where she wants to go. And it's acknowledged as well. But the danger of the sentence is obvious. It needs to be rewritten to state clearly that in relocation cases, as in all cases affecting the future of children, a paramount consideration. Fine. So, after reading the draft, judgments President Thorpe, respectfully agree that both judgments were basically made in favour, based on the fact that if the mother's mental health wasn't of the sound mind, if the mother's mental health isn't of sound mind, mum can't look after the child or children. Therefore, what happens inevitably is that their children are going to suffer because that's their family, and that's what they deem as family. That's what the law says is family, is mother, children, by definition, interpretation. And for me, that there sums everything up. So if you are going to be making an application, if you've got someone you fear abduction, you fear that they're not going to come back and whatnot, then you've got to go for you make your application. In summary, I would suggest that the following considerations be brought to the forefront of the mind of the judge trying one of these difficult cases. They are not and could not be exclusive to the other important matters which arise in an individual case to be decided. All the relevant factors need to be considered, including the points I make below. So far, they are relevant and weighed in balance. The points I make are obvious, but in view of arguments presented to us in this case, it may be worthwhile to repeat them. The welfare of the child, this is it, big one, the welfare of the child is paramount to everything they do, say and think. There is no presumption created by section 13.1b in favour of the applicant parent. So basically they're saying there is no, basically saying it's not guaranteed that the mum will get taken away. You win the case. It's not guaranteed at all. They're saying that. The reasonable proposals of the parent with the residence order wishing to live abroad carry great weight. So the reason that she wants to move is going to be really, really important. So if it's to do with her mental health and it's to do with her well-being and being fit and healthy and looking after the children, that's going to work in her favour. If it's because she just wants to fucking move out there because she wants a younger man or something like that, that ain't going to work, is it? But let's be honest, you're going to be getting caught saying that way, even if that was the case. Consequently, the proposals have to be scrutinised with care, and the court needs to be satisfied that there are a genuine motivation for the move and not the intention to bring contact between the child and the other parent to an end. That is the fucking killer. Yeah, because we proved that the other week in court that it was the case. But because I'm not saying anything more. The effect upon the applicant parent and the new family of the child of a refusal of leave is very important, right? The effect upon the child of a denial of contact with the other parent, and in some cases the family, is very important. So the non-residing parent in his family. How strong is that relationship? How strong is that relationship, and how much is that going to impact the child if it goes? The opportunity of continuing contact between the child and the parent left behind may be very significant as well. All of the above observations have to be made in these premises. So basically, that's your key points there that you look out for when you are making your appeal to refuse an application to leave. And obviously with this case, it was a massive case that has all done on legal aid as well, which is beautiful for the taxpayer back then. Beautiful. She was able to move to New Zealand based on her mental health and based on what I've just said there, based on these points. So if you are battling or thinking about battling, trying to battle, if it's county lines, all you're going in for, I would always, do you know what? I would, for me, I would always appeal. I would always make an application to try and prevent the move. Always. I don't care. And it's a bit of a broad thing to say and a bit of a broad statement to make, but I think you've got to. If it was Lila and I was getting told that she was being taken to the Philippines, I don't know. It's not only is it not part of the Hague Convention. Would I have an argument to keep her? Probably. But I would still argue it, and I'd still make the application into court, and I would still argue my point, knowing on the back of my mind that I'm fighting potentially a losing battle. But then what you're doing in that process is you are building a rapport with the judge while you're doing it. Because ideally, you might have allegations of abuse, whatever you're going through to get that. But if you've got through that part and you're building that rapport with the judge throughout the process, you then actually what you're doing is you're actually working on your contact arrangement. So much as you're disputing the move and you're actually not allowing the move you don't want the move to take place, you're actually working on getting a strong child arrangement order in place. And that's probably more important, knowing that you're going into this process actually working out your child arrangements order, but on the surface, on the paper, what you're doing is you're trying to stop the move from happening. But in your mind, you've got to be aware of the move's 80% chance of it happening, 70% chance of it going forward. And then what you're actually doing is you're working and you're arguing your child arrangements plan. And again, let's not be honest, yeah? If you can prove parental alienation, you can prove all this shit, that she's moving because, or he's moving because he wants to alienate you from the child, then you need to pull all those stops out as well. And please do give me a call if that is the case, because I have all the information you need that can prove parental alienation. It's whether the judges and whatnot want to accept it and whether you put it right in front of them, because that's the other killer. You can put something right in front of the judge. You can say, right, there it is. The spade's a spade, right? And the judge can say, no, it's a fork. I don't see that there being a spade. It's a fork. What are you talking about? It's a fork. You're forker. So yeah. So that's that. So that's as exciting as I'm gonna get. So I was trying to be sensible, really. I was trying to be sensible, and I did a bit of okay being sensible. It's my first time doing it really sensible stuff in terms of making sure I'm getting a message across. I don't want to put any dishearten on shit on people, but I'm just saying out there because I'm getting a lot. Oh, this is from a group actually. Yeah, we're getting a lot more than I'd like. I know there's people in the group that are in our Fathers' Rights UK group that are scanning for business and whatnot, and I'm getting sent screenshots of people who are scanning for business and giving wrong information over as well. And if anyone's coming to you, not maybe on TikTok, but on you over here, then you've got to be careful, because look, I don't really care. I'm too busy to take on much more than what I'm taking on at the moment anyway. So I can't get to one. So I like to believe that the people that we vet and people that I'm aware of that I'm working with in my admin team and moderator team in our group are people that give the same sort of advice as what I give. And it's about sent TikTok universe to Lord Jim. I don't know what that is. But basically sent, what do you call it? Where was I? Basically, we're getting shit people. There's shit people basically in the group slagging off me, for starters. I know that happens. That's great. But then slagging off, convincing people that they've got a case and they don't have cases, and then they're screwing up their cases even more. And I'm just saying, be careful. If you've got a Mackenzie friend calling you and you've got the first thing they're doing is slagging off other people, they're selling too hard. If they have to sell too hard and they're selling their services too much, I'm being funny. I used to work in sales, and I find it difficult to sell my services because I don't like selling my services. I feel so embarrassed by it in terms of having to sell it. I don't know why. It's just a bit odd. That I'm a bit like that. But I used to be, I could sell snow to an Eskimo when it comes to mobile phones, but selling my services and then it comes to costings and that sort of shit, I get a bit. But then it's still. But the thing is, it's still better value than everyone else as well, and I still get better results. And I think that's what pisses people off. But there you go. Oh, and thank you. Look, there's a cat eating me again. Thank you. I've got dates. I've got dates for my for this event that we've won this award for. So I've got dates. I need to read the email and then tell everyone when them dates are. Because don't forget, I've got no friends or I've got no friends. I've got no friends and family. So my friends are my people that I work with or work for, and they're clients, and they turn into clients and turn into friendships. So rather than having friends, we want to have clients. Clients that turn into friends. If I've helped you, and I've supported you one way or another, whether it be a phone call, or whether it be a paid service, then obviously you're invited. I'm allowed to about 10 to 20 people apparently. But we'll see how many people do actually turn up, because I appreciate there's a lot of people coming down from a lot of people up north and down south, and not too many people in London. Well, I've got a few in London actually saying that. I don't know where Vicky is, but I think she was going to come on because I think people are complaining about the fact that, not complaining, but they miss because she's not part of our light sweep anymore. Well, she is, but she's not. They miss us talking, apparently, Vicky. They miss us talking. So I've had a few messages, and Vicky, I've sent you a thing on your direct messenger on Facebook, the link on it. So if you can find that link on your messenger on Facebook and then click it, and then come in to this StreamYard, and then obviously I don't know how you'd work it for your TikTok. I don't know how that works. I have no idea how that works over there. No idea at all. I have no idea. What if I press that? And then there's all these people there. I don't fucking know all these people watching. Well, I'll be damned. Didn't realise. Well, I don't know. I don't know how TikTok works. I've got. But anyway, where are you, Vic? Where are you then? If you come in, if you're not, then I'll carry on talking for another 25 minutes, because there's much more shit that we need to talk about. So look, we've got another case. I think you need to be aware, right? The extremities of what the court perceive as their standard versus what we expect as human beings, right? And it would seem, and I don't know how anyone else feels about this, but when I was in court process, I was really sort of frustrating for the judges and for the security staff and for anyone that I interacted with that had anything to do with family courts. That includes CAFCAS and social services, and some teachers, and the police. That's about it. That's all I can think of. But then, so I was bad, but I've got a little bit of a criminal history, I suppose. I got caught with some cannabis when I was younger. So not much. But then I got treated badly, and I got spoken to badly, right? While in process, because I put it down to the fact that I brought that on myself. I behaved like an idiot, and therefore I'm going to get treated like an idiot by the judge because I behaved like an idiot. I think that's fair enough. I was doing some silly stuff with Matt O'Connor and Fathers of Justice. I don't regret any of it, but if he could take my daughter off his website, then that'd be fantastic. That's all I'm asking of him. That's what I'm asking. All I ask every time I do a live, mention his name. The reason I respect him as a human being and what he does and what he's done for the rights of fathers across the land, and for bringing it to everyone's surfing it and bringing it to everyone's attention. However, I think his methods are archaic and cause further divide, and that doesn't help the children. And that was the case very much so in my situation, where I almost lost everything through listening to him. And when you're broken and when you're in bits because you've got no one else and there is no one else, and that's the only place you could go to, and the only person you're thinking you're getting support from, and he's not, because you're doing silly stunts and you're causing your case to go further and further backwards. And I had to ditch him. And when I ditched him, that's when I went my own sort of way. And he's still got some stuff on the website. So if he can take Lila off his website, then I'll start, then that's happy days. But if not, then the feud continues. But what I'm trying to say is, I behaved badly, so therefore I got treated badly. This last couple of weeks, I've got a couple of clients. Who have got a colourful past, right? And they've lived life fruitfully, right? But they've acknowledged that, and they've taken steps to be better people. They're nowhere near perfect, and no one is. No one. Everyone's shit stinks. Let's be honest. No one's perfect. But then the way they've been treated in court, different level, like literally different level. So the way they're getting treated in court is like abominable, like snowman level, abominable. And I can't help but think that's down to the fact that they've got criminal past, they've been treated like criminals, they've got criminal history, therefore they're criminals, so they treat them like it, and they treat them worse because of it. And when you're in that situation, because I thought I was in a tricky situation when I was being a bit of a dick, I think when you're in that situation, you can't expect it to change overnight. You can't expect it to just be straight on, like, I've changed. Woo! You know you've changed, but you're not perfect. You then need to, your actions in this process, your actions speak louder than your words will. Yeah, so if by means that, if it means that you have to go through a lot of shit to jump through so many hoops of fire because you've got a perception of you that is not correct, you've got to then not be the person that they perceive you to be while trying to get the message across frustratingly that you are not that person that they're accusing you of. And that can be frustrating. But if you come yourself frustrated and you're being frustrated and you're communicating in a frustrated manner because you're frustrated, and rightly so, because you've been accused of something you haven't done or you've been made out to be something you're not, then that's going to be difficult. And it is difficult because I've been there frustratingly, opened my mouth when I shouldn't have opened my mouth, reacted when I shouldn't have reacted. There's the courts, you've got to put your faith into it. And I think the amount of times I've been in court now with my personal situation with my ex, literally I don't care anymore. I won't even go. I refuse to walk into another family court with my ex. I refuse to, just because my daughter's told me not to, or she doesn't want me to. So I won't. Plus, she's of an age. I was of an age where we should be listening to her anyway. We shouldn't need the courts to make a decision for her, because she's got her own voice and she's old enough, as far as I'm concerned, to have that voice, and that voice needs to be respected, albeit it's heavily influenced by her mum, and I acknowledge that and don't respect that, but that's the way it is, and I don't want to make it uncomfortable for my daughter. That's my position on that, and I would suggest or propose other men thinking in the same sort of line. You know what? There's nothing more painful. Yeah, you're not seeing your kid. She's of an age where she's got her own voice. She's been heavily influenced by the mum, or this is, it happens with mums, but I've got mums where this has happened to, and the dads that have done what the parental alienation. So it has no gender. It's not a gender thing. It's a behaviour thing. It's a greed thing. It's I don't know. It's trying to ruin your life. It's trying to ruin you. It's trying to pull you down and make you feel worthless. That's what it does when you. That's what it does when you're alienated. It makes you feel worthless. It makes you feel like you've done something wrong and you don't deserve to be in the life of your child. And don't get me wrong, it needs to be safe. It needs to be 100% safe. Yeah, it has to be. I get that. But at the same point, it's a bit frustrating if you're getting accused of stuff that you haven't done. So trying to hold your anger and frustration while trying to explain that you're not that person is very difficult. And I know that because I do it with people. I help people do it every single day. And then they question me and they kick off at me, especially when it doesn't go. It's not going the way we want it to go at that time, and it takes time. It does take time. And there was one case There was one case a few months ago that I was so glad when that happened. That literally that it needed to happen when it was. I was like, no, you can. We'll get there. One of these hearings, and it literally happened. The whole courtroom changed. The other side had told so many porcupines that it was clear now. It was apparent now and social services were on board with us now, and things had changed from how they were sort of 9 to 12 months ago. And that there was just allegations, but there's not much of a criminal history, but they're allegations. And then the whole thing switched around. We're now confident. My guy that was dealing with that is now confident enough. But we're giving the solicitors some welly now because we're not on the back foot. So we're a little bit more confident with that. And when you've got that position, and when you're in that position whereby you know you've got the truth, and if this is the thing, if you've got the truth, right? If you've got the truth and you know the truth, and you know it's the truth, you don't need a solicitor. Never. Yeah, you don't. I don't care what anyone says. You just don't need a solicitor. If you know it's the truth and you know it's the truth, and it's family court, not criminal stuff, family, you don't need a solicitor. And I can tell you now that I've dealt with and I support people who still coming to the end of their cases who have had solicitors and been charged an extortionate amount of money for one hearing, and then in that one hearing lost items of their house, were made homeless. So they paid X amount of money for a solicitor, like £2,000 generally, or around that sort of money, and then they get their house she's allowed to get permission to come in and get anything from the house, so she takes everything. And the other one, why would you pay that money when you've got the voice and you're fighting for your own child yourself? Do you not think that's more powerful? In fact, I know it's more powerful. Sometimes people are scared because they don't know what to say, and you can say the wrong thing. That's why people sort of use my services. I'm not here to sell my services. Vicky, it's now 8:15 now, and I said like 9, half 9. But can you look at the text message on your messenger that I sent you, please? Actually, I know what I can do. I've got it on the phone here, haven't I? So what we're going to do there is I'm going to take it off the phone here, and then we're going to send you a message on text message, because I know that'll go straight through to you. I don't know who do you think you? Okay. So yeah, so I hope in any way, shape or form, if anyone has watched this back and watches it back to again and again for the first 30 minutes of the most boring information you'll ever learn in your life, but relevant information. Let's say that, relevant, because you need to know that shit when you're self-representing, because you can't go into process, and you can't be believing your Mackenzie friends, and you can't be believing these people who are telling you, yeah, you'll get your fucking. No, you don't. No. That's not the way of the world. The way of the world. Oh yeah, and some people have been saying to me, Jason, if you're not getting my WhatsApps, like, do you know how many? No, I haven't, because actually my phone was switched off. I didn't realise my phone was switched off. So yeah, I didn't. Hearts Fox for Axel joined. Hi. So yeah, so I don't know if that's any of the help. What I'm going to do, 601. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I can't see anything. So if anyone's, Marcus is there. It's nice to see you there, Marcus. Hopefully you can see enough now. I've not been able to view anything on any comments. So if there's any questions in there that I can't see because I'm just not looking at the right places or whatever, then I'm going to check now, because there might be questions in there that I missed because I'm not very good at that sort of shit. But I did the opening quite well, didn't I? It was actually quite good for me. No one talking. Oh well, shit happens. That's cool. Where are you, Vic? Well, I think I have a lot there. And what I'll do is I'll come back on in a little while with Vic. No, that's how it's going to work. What's this call? I'll do like an online phone call to her. Like, don't swear, please. You're on live podcast, whatever you fucking call it. So no swearing. Oh, it's because I'm on that fucking phone. Isn't it? Maybe I can do it still. Oh, it still works. Cheap necklaces. Hey, I sell cute cheap necklaces. I'd love it if you can check out my profile. Yes, okay, I'll check out your profile. I don't know if I would wear cheap necklaces. So you're not selling it properly. Cheap necklaces. No, you're not selling it. You sell good value for money necklaces. That's that, isn't it? That's a bit of a turn of the book. So that's that. What else can we say? That's it, really. You got to stay strong, loving each other, because there's a lot of divide, and there's a lot of people trying to cause divide. There's a lot of people slagging a lot of people off still, and spending too much time worrying about what other people are doing rather than worrying about themselves. If you keep like negative thoughts and feelings and vibes and shit, then you're going to get negative feelings, vibes and shit all everywhere, all over the place, and you're going to bring negative shit to your doorstep. And the last thing you need is negative shit on your doorstep when you're in a negative place already. You know what I mean? So, what I would say, because I can't get rid of Vicky, we might come back later. I'll put that though, because I've got too much work to do. What I'm going to finish off 2 statements. And just before anyone criticises me on the statement thing, yeah, it's proofreading statements. They write their own statements. I just proofread them. And then, yes, that's a bit. That's my life as my boring life. Boring, reading out some boring family law stuff to make sure that everyone understands that when your missus wants to go, or your partner wants to leave, well, your missus actually, because she's, as we've established in this, it's the family unit is classed as the mum normally who has residence of the children, because that is the family, and you're not the family anymore. So deal with it, men. Deal with it, you non-residing men, you, me, you, all of us. We have to deal with it, and that's the best way of coping, because that's the thing, right? You, just because you, like, a lot of men say this, right? Sorry, a lot of men say this. You feel like you can't get on with your life because you should be feeling and grieving for your children that you're not seeing anymore. You can't be seen to be having a good time because you're grieving for your children that are being alienated from you and whatever. That's not true. Yeah, you've got to get on with your life. You've got to do what makes you happy. You've got to love yourself. And be there. If you love yourself quicker, and this is what I've learned, if I loved myself quicker and took care of myself a little bit better than what I was, because I'm not saying I took care of myself now, even the way I should do. If you get through what you get, you don't feel that change curve, yeah, because I'm going to get it. It took me 5-6 years to get through it, so I'm not going to criticize anyone for time frame, because there is no time frame. You get through it when you get through it. But be aware when you do get through it, and to help you get through it, you will naturally never be yourself again. You'll never, ever, ever, ever be your natural you again. The same confident you that you were before, it's gone. It doesn't exist. What does exist is a stronger you, and a you that's more powerful, and a you that can take on more shit. How you use that knowledge that you get, and the power that you get, and the wisdom you get from getting through this shit is up to you. But you've got it, and you've got through it all. But you need to get through it all. Yeah. So when you're going for these applications, being aware, being realistic is really important. Don't be sold the dream. I've done that once accidentally. I'll eat my socks, I said. Yeah, and little did I know. Yeah, little did I know. But ultimately, if you've got the education out there, and that's what I'm teaching everyone for, giving out the answers, so you don't need to pay for solicitors, or because there's no you could, let's put this into perspective, right? There is no solicitor in this land that would change the position of that law, making it generally. It's not law that the residing parent can generally move away straight away, or it's going to get granted without decision. But there's no solicitor that can argue your case for you better than you can argue your case yourself. And with the majority of cases being, yeah, mum can go because they can't be proven that there's neglect, or they're not sound of sound mind or of parenting ability, because they're the reasons why they would stay and not be accepted. One of the main reasons, at least, anyway. Then you've got to ask yourself, why would you pay someone thousands of pounds for the same result that you could get yourself? And what it will do for your self-confidence, and what it will do for you, and what it will do for you as an individual, will make you stronger, it will make you wiser, it will make you more resilient, it will make you less trusting. And that's one thing for sure, you may never trust again, depending on your breakup and how you broke up and what goes on subsequent to your breakup. That will impact your trust. How you cope with your breakdown of your relationship, and how you cope with not seeing your child, and how you cope with the hurt that you feel will have an impact on obviously the outcome of things. Because some people go to the gym, which is good. I commend you for that. I never did. Some people buy hookers. I never did that either. Some people drink a lot. I did that. Some people are self-medicated, so I self-medicated. Some people play golf. If you're doing good, but there's a lot of people that I'm speaking to who are doing really positive, good things. I mean, what I started doing instead of the drinking was helping people. That gave me my little thing of the little bit of love that I needed to get me through that I was missing from my daughter. So that's the main reason I did and do what I did and do what I do, because the fact that I missed my daughter's love and the appreciation that I get from people, from from the support that I give, goes a little way into making things a little bit more bearable. If we do things that way. No. Surely it's 9 o'clock now. It's not 9 o'clock because I started 5 minutes early. So I've got 5 minutes to film. Vicky, do you think I should wait for 5 minutes? Are you coming in or on that one, or are you going to do your? I don't know how you're doing this, but there's a few people over there on that one, and I don't know where you are. So I don't know whether to keep it going or run it off dry or what. Maybe run it off dry. Is that a real name though? Is that a real name? Jewelry by Kaz. We'll definitely check that out. Look, anyone needs support with family law stuff? Yeah, my ways are proving to fucking very, very successful. Don't always get the results we want based on the fact that it's near on impossible sometimes, but the support you get and the guidance you'll get should be enough to keep you alive. I haven't lost anyone this year so far. I don't think we've lost anyone personally I'm working with this year, which is good. So this is good. Right, so Vicky, I think I'm giving you as much time as I need. I will go, and if I need to come back, she can get me. But that's my hour done, and I'll start 5 minutes early, so I'm sort of 55 minutes. But I've got so much to type. So if I do come back later because people are wanting to see me and Vicky talk to each other for some reason, then great. Then that's what we'll. Vicky, if I can go to Vicky, then that's what we'll do. And if I can't, then I know people are messaging me and blah, blah, blah. I'm really sorry that I can't get back to everybody. I just can't. I'm literally having to ignore all new things coming in now, at least until the end of probably next week when there's cases that are concluded and coming to an end. So I've got 3 cases ended next week, which means I'll be able to take on 3 more new clients. Some people may say that I probably shouldn't, but I don't see why not, because I've got the workload managed. It just means that I'm going to downtime, which is cool with me because I don't need downtime. Peace and love. Right, let's do this one first of all. Peace and love. We're going to go that way first of all. Peace and love. Lions love. Thanks for watching. Whoever watched, goodbye. Peace and love. How do I turn that off on here now? Try to turn that off there. Oh yeah, in there like that. That's good. That's done. So now I come over to this one here, and so that's crazy, isn't it? 4. So on TikTok there, you just had like 403 views in that little time. And that disappears, doesn't it? That'll just disappear. But then on this one, even though it's on more platforms, the maximum we've gone to, it showed on there, it's been like 42. I think it's on YouTube there, so it's just weird. Odd. Anyway, so that's things. So thanking you for watching. Thank you for participating. Thank you for being alive. Thank you for loving. Thank you for hating. Thank you for being you. And if you're hating, stop hating. If you're loving, keep loving. But more importantly, I think just focus on you. Don't worry about anyone else. You.
Hello? Well, it says that everyone can see and hear me, but I cannot see and hear anyone else. So I hope this isn't the case. There we go, I can see you now. I can't hear you though. You're mute. Oh, there we go.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
How are we?
So I haven't seen you for a little while, Victoria. I haven't seen you for a little while.
Haven't you?
I haven't spoken to you for a little while. No, not for a little while.
not in this life.
Not in this capacity. Here. Not in this capacity.
Not right. Okay. Right. Not in this capacity.
No. So, I've just been doing this like. What would you say? What would you say the parameters of being allowed to leave? What would you say the good enough reasons to stop a move from taking place, move them to a different country, like children?
If it's not in the best interest of the child. So, for example, if one parent is offering a significantly better lifestyle because of a job offer that's in another country, you have to ask yourself whether you're hindering your ex-partner or your child by disallowing it, and that would be what the judge would do as well. Because it's not about what we do with impulse actions in child law cases is we go now, Payne, now you're going to meet someone else, you're going to have hindered your child's life, your ex-partner may still be staying in the same cycles and loops that they've been in before, and no one will have progressed, but you'll have got on with your life, so it's totally fine that you stop that action, and actually your child could thrive in that environment. And I think that if parents went together in the best interest of the children at all times, then there wouldn't be any issues. But there's always one parent wanting to stop the other parent's success in some of the applications to court. And I do think that a lot of people, when they say, I don't want them to move, or I don't want them to go to a different school, or I don't want them to do this, it's about their need and not in the best interest of the child.
I think that's, yeah. I mean, we lose track of that though. We lose track of that when you're in the cauldron of the whole family court.
Because no one reminds them though. No one reminds them. If you remind them, the judges aren't going to remind you until they've gone against you, and then you feel really shit and shamed and angry again at your ex because it's all at your ex. And the solicitors aren't going to tell you because they make a shit ton of money out of not telling you, fighting your corner, knowing it's probably not in the child's best interest, and you being shouted down.
So I could tell you a really embarrassing story that I've not told anyone. Like, it's a recent story as well. You might even get like really bad recent story, like really bad.
Right. Okay.
Do you want to know about it?
What have you done?
It's not rude. It's not rude. It's embarrassing.
What have you done? What did you
really
do?
Embarrassing. In fact, I blame the cat. I blame Liam, right? Because it's his fault. Now, it might be Lila's fault as well. It might be Lila's fault as well, to be honest with you. Yeah, it might be Lila's fault too. So obviously with I don't know if I should be saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway, right?
I don't know. I'm feeling nervous, if I'm honest.
I'm nervous because it's a big thing that I'm saying, right? Because I'm embarrassed by it. I'm really embarrassed by it. I'm really embarrassed by it. Right? So I've been getting my hair cut, right?
Yes. Now, every Friday you get your hair cut, something goes really wrong.
Yeah. Every time I get my hair cut, something goes wrong. So
fuck it up Friday, I'll call it now.
No. Yeah. But I can't even say it. So obviously I've got a cat, right? The cat was ill, right? When I first got the cat, right? You know about this, right? And obviously when you got a cat, it's like things that got itchy and whatever, and you start itching, right? And I'm like thinking to myself, right, so I'm itching, I'm like, I've got everything else sorted, got everything out of the way.
You've got fleas!
I had them, and then not in that, in my hair as well. I don't think it was fleas, I think it was nits as well. But they must have been there for a little while because there was lots.
Didn't you feel
And they've been cutting my hair, and they haven't said anything to me. They must have seen them walking around in that little village or city or whatever, do you know what I mean?
Have you got yourself some ivermectin now?
Yeah, it's all sorted now. But like, it was.
It's making me itch.
That's what I'm saying.
Nits are like my worst thing, and they go for particular blood types, and they love one of my children. And I just nits. Oh, now it's every bath time, whether they like it or not, because I just can't cope with them.
Well, this is what I figured out. This is what I figured out. I'm gonna have to be. That's what I figured out because I've got the cat. I'm gonna have to just put it out every time now. Look, for the first time, I kid you not, for the first time in years, right? And in fact, for the first time ever, I bought some shampoo. I don't get me wrong, women would buy shampoo and I'd use their women's shampoo, right? But for the first time ever, I literally look. Where is it? See? First time ever, bought some shampoo. I kid you not.
You never normally buy shampoo?
I just fucking wash my hair with soap. It's just like shower gel or whatever, isn't it? Don't even wash my hair. Don't even wash my hair. So I was thinking, if I don't wash my hair, nits can't get in there because it's got wax and everything on it, right? But they clearly fucking can.
No, they just want to eat blood.
Huh?
They just want to eat blood.
They were having a party in there. They were having a party, I tell you. Literally, I thought the cat was bad. I was on a different level. Embarrassing. And they were cutting my hair. No one told me. Would you not, if you were cutting someone's hair, would you tell them?
Yeah, normally they have a duty of care. They can't cut your hair if you've got them.
Well, maybe they didn't see it.
If I start cutting someone's hair and I've seen them, I'm like, oh, could you treat your hair? And they're like, because otherwise you're using your scissors. You can use barbicide, but it's, those little critters take a lot to die, so.
I was sitting there the other day, I was sitting with a massive bucket of water. And it's like, so pulling them out and sticking them in. Me and Liam, like, your turn, my turn, your turn. It's like, your turn for me, mine for me. The whole fucking, we fucking slaughtered a whole army of them. We sat here until like 4 a.m, just fucking taking them out. People think I was working.
Wait,
I was working.
You've got to break their legs to stop them breeding.
Well, doing
how often do you comb and brush your hair?
Well, and now about 15 times a day now. Like, literally, I lose an hour halfway through the term. Let me just have a look. See, they're clean now. It's all come out. But there was, at the stage, it was like an army. It was like there's like eggs or whatever, and I'm like, fucking hell, it's never gonna end up getting me to a hospital. I think I'm gonna die. But literally, it seems now the last 2 days we've taken out the whole lot. But I'm just gonna keep, because I've got the cat. I'm just gonna keep every time I'm washing my hair, I'm just gonna just do that shit every day anyway as well. I can't be having that shit in my hair. I can't be fucking having that. Fucking hell. Funny, not really. Imagine my pool time. Imagine I'm on the pool, right? And then I'm lying in bed, and then no. Doesn't bear thinking about. So what's going on in your world? It seems we're not allowed to talk to each other anymore because we disagree on things.
I find that so funny. I find that so funny.
I don't even disagree. You put in something else.
I find that so funny. I find it so funny that men and women are always going to fundamentally disagree because we're built completely differently, and that's the wonderful learning of life. But I just find it so funny that people can be so cut and shut that I have a different opinion to them, therefore I must move to a different country and not interject with them at all, which I'll go there on holiday and eat their food and even speak to them in a funny language. That's, we're going back a long way in time if we can't integrate with different people that have different opinions, because the world is full of different people with different opinions, and we got to fucking suck it up, buttercups. But yeah, that has cracked me up. People saying, oh my God, a man doesn't like women because they don't like a woman, or a woman doesn't like disagrees with that, therefore she hates all men. I just think, oh my God, yawn, get over yourselves. You'll probably follow them around and see them smiling at the man in the co-op. No, what, they like a man? We are polarizing everything so much, and kids are more woke than us. We're the stilted generation. They find us hilarious the way we argue. They're like, yeah, it's ridiculous.
The kids are like, if we could take ourselves back to being children again and simplify things, that's what we have to do, is simplify everything.
Be an adult and make children rational decisions. That's even better, because then you've got learned lived experience and you're an adult. And so many people forget being a child, but it's actually quite easy. They just have to go back in time.
I think you're right about that. Yeah, I think you're right about that.
But adults are more childish than children.
No, well, yeah, I think you're wrong about that. I think I'm not. Everyone else is.
You're not childish.
No.
Really?
No, of course not. I'm the biggest child here. God. Look,
There's nothing wrong with that,
the other
though.
day-
Nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. Not having an inner child.
Being a child. I mean, being a child gets me awards. It gets me like recognised and shit and whatnot.
Yeah, get yourself a
I
new
won't
group
be a
of
child.
haters club. What direction are you
you've
going
got to come
in,
back with every
Jason?
bit of success. With every bit of
Isn't it?
success anyone has, they're going to have someone trying to pull them down and hate on them.
I love it.
You just need to get used to it.
I actually like the trolls now because they give me content. I've got another 3.
You're doing like a whole load
comedy. Yeah, I'm turning direct quotes from things they've said to me into comic little films.
So what you're actually doing are they're actually lived real words from conversations that have actually happened.
So I have to write. So I take the recordings of things that people have either said to me, like, "You're a beautiful gappy tooth, aren't you?" So I've obviously like filtered out a bit of the language, but
yeah,
beautiful gappy tooth. Yeah, I've put that in there. I've had loads of corkers, and now I laugh at them and go, "That's flipping content."
I love it when they give you. I love it when they give you something that you've not heard before. Like I've heard loads. So there's nothing original comes to me anymore. Nothing original comes to me. Occasionally, I get the odd bit of fucking genius, and I'm like, "Fucking, that's good," and I value it. Yeah, I like that. I've not heard that one before. But literally, everything else other than that, I was like, I've heard that one before. Come on,
my favourite one was the Eastern European. I want to say Russian, but I hate labelling Russians as all the baddies. But I think she may have been Russian. And we were having a conversation, and it was going really well. We were getting on the same path, and I think my emphasis was on the wrong syllable. And she thought I said something I didn't, and I couldn't backtrack before she was going, "No, I know why they said you're a fucking bitch, and I think you deserve to have your children taken from you, you fucking witch, and you fly around on a fucking stick." And I was going, "I didn't say that." And she went, "Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Yes, carry on." And I was like, at that point, I'm a bit like,
I've got tagged into something. I don't know if they meant to do it or didn't. I mean, I removed myself as soon as I saw it, but I was like, they keep tagging me and shit. I'm like, what? I don't even know. Just remove myself from it. And they're tagging there's some shit in you, and they said something, and she caused some trouble on the father's rights group the other day as well. I'm like, she didn't really cause any trouble. Different people were having like a different opinion. It was just not. It was good for the group. It was good for the group. These
people of popular consensus believe they can remove my opinion from Facebook by having their own opinion that is just against me. Because if you ask them, so what do you think about what she said? It doesn't matter what I think. She can't be going around with her vagina giving her opinions willy-nilly from an informed perspective, from training and education. That's not what it's about. Bloody women. And that's actually it. And then when you ask those people, so what is your options for change? What is it you're suggesting that are better than hers? Well, everything she says is just crap. Just keep everything as it is. And then you're like, oh, right, okay, so yeah, you can fuck off. So I'm not really bothered. And it's quite good, really, because exactly those people are the people that I would like to eradicate from society as well. So at least we both know where we all stand.
Well, who is that? I think it's good that you both all know where each other stand. I think it's embarrassing though for people to. I mean, when I saw you the other week, mate, some of that phone content was.
Last night as well. Yeah. It's that. I mean, that is playing into a lot of my content. Some of it's really harrowing. I mean, encouraging people to die. And at any point, if anyone disbelieves anything we can say, as Jason knows, I have a lovely amount of recordings of a lot of these people that throw shit at me, threatening me, my kids, threatening other people, sending death threats, sending people, phoning the police, phoning welfare services, doing welfare checks, reporting them to social services, anything to cause people they don't fucking know harm. So anyone that follows that clickbait, all you're doing is you're opening yourself up to possibly having no end of issues with social services, police. I mean, 16 because of that one woman now. 16 children are in care or having no contact with their parents because of the lies she's made up.
There's people going. I've got screenshots from the group, and people going around contacting people in the group under alias false profiles that aren't their real profiles, and then they're slagging me off. I'm used to people slagging me off, but they're trying to get business out of it. And the cases are already dead in the water, or they shouldn't be making applications to court yet, or they have to sit and prove something first of all, rather than going and making an application and making things worse. And then going and making applications, and then things are getting worse again. And it's like, what did you expect? That's why we left it where it is, because it needs to be part of it a while. You have to prove yourself. But
there's always someone out there that can do better than you, Jason. They know better than you, and they can make more money than you. So, they've got, rather than doing it with integrity, setting up their own page, working on case by case to get where they are, they'll just come in your group, slander you, or what is the new one is work with people, and then when they don't like the answers that person says, go to their ex-partner and ruin the case that way. I mean,
wow.
Makes everyone feel really safe, doesn't it? It's why I want to have registration.
I said earlier, people need to be careful with who they're using, because there are some dickheads doing it.
There's only 3 Mackenzie friends I would recommend throughout the whole of Great Britain. There we go.
3.
Mm-hmm.
Am I on that list?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Well, I've recommended you, douche. So yeah.
I've got shampoo now, so I fucking better be.
Yeah, no. There's only 3 that I would recommend. And
I don't need the names. As long as I'm on the list, I don't need their names.
No, I don't know. I won't. I'm not going to advertise them on yours. But if anyone wanted them, they could come to me. But the thing is that I don't think.
Or come to me. It's up to you.
Well, most of them do come to you, but you're too busy.
I know.
And you can't. And this is something else other selfish people do. You can't stockpile so you've got a monetary income and leave them so they don't have contact. If you can't act upon their best interest where it's ready to move there and then you do have to say or recommend someone else. And the other issue that I have a massive problem with is this whole thing that because you've got a Mackenzie friend off the internet, that suddenly makes them fucking free. I always say to people, if you want recommendations for a Mackenzie friend, and you're saying you can't afford to pay a solicitor, then how are you going to afford to pay a Mackenzie friend? Because getting them to do the work and then slagging them off on the internet when they ask for money is seemed to be status quo by people, and I just won't deal with it. With me, if you come to me...
But you've got to expect that because they're hurting. I expect it because they're hurting, though, not because they mean it. Really?
I'm fed up of making that excuse. Because I've got a really good relationship with my solicitor, and I don't blame him for stubbing my toe or the fact that I couldn't get the paperwork in on time or I didn't fill out the email. But some people want their arse wiped and then they wonder why they're in the situation. We're not helping people by pandering to this whole idea that we can solve their problems. No, only they can solve their problems. We can give them advice. And what I do isn't, people say, oh, I'm a Mackenzie friend. If that's how it's easy for you to categorize me. But no, I give people the tools to go and do it for their fucking self so I can go and help another 20 people in the same way. I can't do what Jason does, which is case by case, deal with you, sit with you, enter everyone. On some high cases, adoption, fostering, if there are incidents where a solicitor's let you down, final hearing, and you just simply can't do it, of course, I will stand in on emergency. But for me, it's about strategizing, getting a network and a plan in and working with Mackenzie friends, if need be, solicitors, social workers. But for me, it's about the person making the changes for themselves. And not enough people are actually being brutally honest and talking about the fact that the system is corrupt. We as professionals cannot guarantee anything. If you couldn't guarantee it as the parents, you're the ones with the rights. It's not us. And that's what's quite sad with people I see coming to you, is you work so hard and then they're always feeling a bit like, oh, you could have done better. And it's like, well, what did you do to get here? Because we can only do so much of scathing around your mistakes to make them not look as bad as they are. But what have you done to withdraw that concern? Because there's a concern, otherwise no one would be where they are, would they?
Well, no, the point is that people, I mean, I do a lot of free form filling. Yeah, it's part of my thing is filling forms in for free. But if I've got deadlines for something that's more urgent than filling the form in, why can't you fill a form in? You know your names, date of birth. I'll send you the link. I'll talk you through it. Why can't you fill your form in? And then I'll check over it afterwards, which is what I started doing more of recently. But when people can't even fill their own form in, and I'm like, some of them I accept, some of it I accept because there's reasons behind
it. If it's educational, if they can't read or write, they're non-Gillick competent or they're neurodiverse, then that is a good enough reason to do it for them. But when you have people that are capable enough to apply for a job, work full time, they've got their own national insurance numbers and they're probably self-employed and pay their own taxes, and they're coming to you asking you to do it like this because they're traumatized, yes, and are so of the rest of the 5 million children that are alienated. There's 7.9 million children that are being taken into foster care every year. You know, 1.8 million children that are going through adoption. And that's not even talking about extended family members that are affected. We're all fucking traumatized. But, you know, we have to now start going, yes, okay, we've pandered to the trauma. We're all in the same boat. Yeah. How is it going to work out best for your kids? Because another thing that a lot of people are forgetting is, for as traumatic it is for the parents, it's 50 million times worse for the kids.
For the parent knows what's going on. You can rationalize it. You can decompartmentalize it. You can go self-medicate. You can go fuck a hooker. Yeah, you can do whatever you need to do to cope with it, right? But ultimately, the child doesn't know what's going on, and all the child can see is two people that they love most in the world, not together anymore. Their worlds just come apart. No one's looking at them though when that's happening. They're just too busy arguing with each other. And I'm guilty of it with my ex-wife, and my parents go blah blah blah. I think I can see it now, and I think that's why I don't think I'll ever get into another relationship again ever. I don't think I probably will, but if I do, then I'm never having children again. That's for sure. Unless I put it in a test tube and then give it to someone else, in which case you can have it. Freeze it.
I'd like another 4 or 5 children. I'd just be so scared of the same mistakes happening again. So that would be it's fear. I think fear, and also I'm very concerned about the world now, and how unchild focused it is. And I think that if we had population and overpopulation problems, we're not in the next 20 years, because the children growing up they don't like the world, and they don't like what they've been exposed to, and they don't want to bring children into the world. So, you know, we are really, as humanity, shooting ourselves in the foot with how little we're doing to address how shit it is for the kids, really, because their dim view on monogamy as well, on love. You know, we are fast approaching a group sex Orwellian kind of new world order. You know, Brave New World, Aldous Huxley kind of.
So did you take group sex?
Yeah. The idea of a new world is that there's one universal banking currency, that you don't have autonomy in relationships anymore, or family units. You have fluid family units, which include group sex, no monogamy. And it means that the divide and rule is stronger, because people won't be able to club together and work together. And it means that government has
group sex. I'm thinking about this idea of group sex. I mean, I'm stuck on this group sex thing. What's that doing? Orgies?
Well, you could call them orgies, but when they're controlled, they become something different, don't they? Have you ever read Brave New World? Have you ever read Brave New World?
Bits of it.
Okay, you need to read the whole book.
1984. I'm 1984.
Well, it's a good book, but not the same. Read Brave New World, because we are there now. We are there now.
Okay. Well, I'm actually here now. Just so you say, just so you know.
No, you're not. You're not. You're a plasma screen.
I'm just a soul that's fucking floating around this world, doing whatever I'm doing and getting wherever I'm going to. And then, do you know what? I actually think we're not there. Do you know what? The Milky Way, I've seen something, right? The Milky Way is our universe, right? But outside of the Milky Way is another Milky Way. And there's another Milky Way, and it's a fucking there's different universes. Have you seen this? Have you seen that?
Yeah, we are fragments of dust in the grand scale of things.
Yeah.
But imagine we are fragments of dust, but together we can create kinetic energy, and energy rises, and by creating positive energy, you're raising the energy of everyone else around you. So little bits of dust can do a lot.
Little bits of dust can do a lot when they're fucking positive, but then there's not enough positive people around there to want to, because there's not.
Negative ions cause cancer, and I think much more. And I just think that if everyone stops being so freaking miserable,
just fucking look after yourselves, man.
Depression is becoming so addictive. People are becoming addicted to telling you sad things.
Yeah.
Have you not noticed that? How many times do people call you up and tell you, do you know what, Jace? I want to tell you something that I've achieved today.
No, the only phone calls I have is people that, obviously, most of the phone calls are people that are not very happy with life right now, because obviously they're going through your separations and whatnot. But even people that aren't going through that have been through it, we talk about other things, but don't talk about positive things always. There's always negative things, because bad news travels quicker. Bad news is good news. It makes us gossip. But then that's what I try not to do, is gossip. I try and give people compliments behind their back still. I'm still doing that. I'm still giving people compliments behind their back. Even the haters. They hate
Nice
the fact
out.
that I still love them. They hate it.
I know, it's great, isn't it?
I said to my hairdresser the other week, I said, like, when they're making when I'm making the train carriages like sing like Wonderwall and shit, right? And they start singing it at me, thinking I'm gonna be upset. And I'm like, I just start singing it back with them louder. And then they get the whole train carriage singing. I said, they're taking the piss at me. And I said, but they sing. So no, I think they want you to start being angry back, and so they can start a fight. No. But then you think about it, they must do. They do. That's what they do, because they're that negative vibe, and I don't let it into me. I don't let it into nothing.
No, just don't play to it. It's really hard though, because the more you're trying to be positive, you'll notice in today's modern culture, the more that people will try and attack you. Loads of people have got recently into sending me trolling messages and then blocking me, which I just absolutely love, because it means that they're obviously too scared for the response, which I would be too if I was them. Do you know what I mean? I'm the only person that scares me. Hand on heart, I'm the only person that scares me.
I mean, you're the only person you compete with. You're the person you spend most time with. You're the person that looks after you more. You're the person that you cry to the most.
Yeah, I do cry to myself a lot.
Don't
make me feel depressed. No,
there
were good things. There were good things happening, talking about division between men's groups, and I don't know if a lot of the people in your men's group or otherwise are affected by this. I think they are. That's why I'm saying it. But I have been working very hard with lots of other people behind the scenes to lobby the child maintenance services, and it's been announced that the child maintenance services are being disbanded. Thank you, Boris. And they're going to be replaced with a service which is fair. It is an asset stripping.
They say.
It's not going to allow the denial of contact.
They claim.
And if there are arrangements made between parents and the child maintenance bodies, won't be getting involved. But
how often do you think parents are going to better get on and agree?
Well, no, they won't. But then they'll have financial mediation that's already been designed by yours and Amy Nucky Truly. So we've got it covered, and it's definitely pro-child, pro-contact, pro-parent. And if we emphasise the 50-50 where possible, then there wouldn't be any money exchanging hands.
Presumption is 50-50, and then they let the parents take it down if they can't work it. Because it's fair enough if you can't work it, it's fair enough. And this is the thing, parents need to realise, dads need to realise, it isn't a bad thing if you can't do 50-50. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. It's not your fault if you've got a job.
Maybe they don't want to give up their really good job that they've just spent 20 years building their career, and their ex-partner doesn't actually expect them to. So you come up with as you're doing most of the school runs, can I still have them at the weekends? Yeah, well, I would like every now and again. Well, should we say that every fourth Saturday you do whatever activity you want to do with your family, but I'll pick them up on Wednesday evening because I've got a bit of a shorter day. It can be fucking sorted. And if you give it to someone else, it can be sorted so much quicker. But people have got these control issues. Oh, well, I don't mind him having him as long as he doesn't take him to see Sharon, his Auntie Dave, and his Uncle Bob.
Or leave the town.
Yeah. You're not allowed to go on a day trip that I don't approve of. Fuck you. Did you ask for permission? No. And who are you stopping there? You're stopping your child having a day trip. Imagine if you were taking them on a day out, you'd go, that's so coercively controlling that he's stopping us going anywhere. I'm sorry, loves. The shoe fits. It can't be one rule for one and one rule for another.
What about if you were letting, so let's say we were separated now. Let's do a role play. I like role plays.
You're a bastard.
Let's do a role play, right? So,
I hate you. Fucking Liam Gallagher.
You're a witch, but let me take our child to, I don't know, New Zealand. I've been talking about New Zealand. You take this child to New Zealand, yeah?
I'm off to New Zealand with Monk.
But can I take that child to Bristol when you get back?
Well, no, because it's one rule for me and another one for you.
Oh no, but in that case, don't go. I'm not letting you go to New Zealand then. In that case, I'll make an application before.
Well, then I'm going on my own, and the child's staying at home. That's what happens.
I will look after the child then. I will look after the child.
No, because it's about control. It's nothing to do. Because if either parent gave a fucking shit, then it would all be fine, wouldn't it?
You'd be like, yeah, go for your holiday in New Zealand. Thanks for holiday in New Zealand. You take your fucking child to your train.
And, oh my God, you're going on holiday with 3 kids. How stressful that going to be? Do you want me to take them to Bristol for a week when you get back so you can tidy the house and sort out the washing? Do you know what? That would be really nice, thanks. Why can't it be like that? Every parent that comes back from holiday goes, I need another holiday just to catch up with the washing. But they won't call the ex-partner and go, you know, you're desperate to have your child and go and see your mother. Fancy taking them away for the weekend?
How much fun would that be for the kid? How much fun would that be?
Because they like moaning on these sites about the men or about the women. They have no fucking life. They've got no hobbies. They are obsessed with their ex-partners and they just like slagging people off. What are we going to do? Kill all the Karens?
Fair. I do come across cases where, like, literally, the men have got to just let their exes go. Like, literally, let it go. I don't want to talk. I don't want to hear your ex's name. I don't want to hear it. Do you know what I mean? I don't even go there. So.
But then I think this is really important, and it's something that I'm looking into. It's the reason why toxic masculinity. Because, like, if we're going to blame toxic masculinity and there's this unequalness, so what can we do to solve it? Because there are so many men that have got high emotions that are dismissed, abused. 46% of men are domestically abused. How is that getting lost in the system that the men's voice is gone? And then this obsession, it happens with women too, and they're a bit freaky, some of them, as you know. But when they're phoning you and it's constant, guess what they've done? And she's got a new boyfriend, or he's done this, and you're going, fuck's sake, has this got anything to do with the child? Like, but actually, if we all think about how we feel about our partners when we first separate, it's grieving, isn't it? So what my suggestion is for any couples that are going through it, instead of calling the police on your ex or trying to get a non-mole, instead of doing all these things, you should go to grievance counselling together. So instead of, like, if a child's died, your relationship's died. So technically, whether one of you is more okay with it than the other, you should, if you've got children, both go to grievance counselling so that you can address the issues of grievance and the fact you're dealing with it differently. And I hate to say this because it is so fucking what's his name, Chris Martin and Gwyneth Paltrow, but there should be a conscious uncoupling. So that means that all finances are mediated, all contact is mediated, but more importantly, the emotions surrounding it for one or both parties is sorted so it doesn't affect the child. Do you know what I mean? Simple solution, because we need to deal with the emotions of men. There's young boys who want to cry for their fathers, but they've become the man of the house, having this quite a lot. So they're not going to go against their mother, where the younger sister really wants to see the dad. So the younger sister's more likely to go and see the dad, who doesn't have as many memories. And it's just like.
But will they? Because what Kafkas will do is they'll take the oldest child's wishes and feelings, because the oldest child influences the younger children, so they'll take the eldest child's wishes and feelings and incorporate that with the.
I don't know if I agree with the older child, because they're separating siblings and adopting off siblings, younger siblings, at a rate of noughts at the moment. I don't think that they listen.
That's private law. That's private. In public, in private law.
In public and private law, it's the same thing. Most reasons why children get removed by social services at the moment has got nothing to do with physical harm. It's about parental conflict impacting them emotionally.
Oh, that's happening all the time. Yeah.
And that is why children are being removed, and it is barbaric because of contact denial. Because parental alienation is child abuse. People don't believe that.
I've been saying this forever.
Yeah, it's recognised now, just so you know.
Is it?
Yeah, and there's lots of solutions. Like, if you come to Family Superheroes, we've designed an ebook that I'm just finishing the rendering on. I've been waiting all day. But yeah, I've got a new video going up about that tonight, and then we've got meetings of that all week. Yeah, it's all happening. All go. We've written the bill, haven't we, to make it an illegal act, 4 years imprisonment, to make it the similar sentence to coercive control, because it's a form of control. Keeping your children from someone is a form of control.
Well, it should have come through when they made that last change before. That's what people were expecting.
They did. Section 68. Section 68 of the Domestic Abuse Act does focus on coercive control. The only problem is Section 58 of Section 58 of the Domestic Abuse Act 2021 and Section 68 talk about the local authorities' right to protect through domestic abuse, right? So under the new legislation brought in by 2021, then if there's coercive control, and that includes the use or misuse of child contact, then you have to report it to the police. If the social services don't deem it that way, then it just disappears. So it's really hard at the moment to get any form of traction with criminal convictions for coercive control, even and or parental alienation, because the professionals dealing with it they don't have any diagnostic tools. And imagine getting it wrong, because they're being slated now for getting it wrong. So you don't want to be that professional. So I do feel in a way that they're fucked if they do, and they're fucked if they don't, because they cite it and it's wrong.
But the professionals are going to get fucked either way, because they're either going to get moaned at by the bloke who doesn't agree with what's on the report, or they get moaned at by the woman and get complained about by the woman. Either one, you can't keep both of them happy. It's impossible. Whoever's happy, you're going to get the other one sad. No? You don't think so?
I don't think it should be about happy mums and dads. I'm so sorry.
It's not.
I really want both parents to feel like they've come out a little bit beaten up when they come out of court. Both of them, they should both be ashamed of themselves for putting so many things in about themselves. And the court doesn't do that. It listens to so much hearsay and bullshit. It's like things like, she threw a glass across the room, and they'll use that in court as an expression of their anger, right? And you actually think, if you were to polarize this, how many people have thrown a glass across the room? A, either not meaning to, B, for a completely different reason, like their favorite football team just won and they just had a beer in their hand and couldn't help it, and they went, "Wah!" You know, I don't think a lot of people are actually focusing the actions of their ex-partner, because, and this is the other thing, is that you never called the social services or raised safeguarding concerns. None of you when you were together. So don't tell me shit about thinking they're a bad parent now, just because they're knobbing someone else. It really, really frustrates me. I'm just like, oh, so how many times, could you just tell me how many times you called the social services during your relationship? I didn't. And can you tell me when you called the social services or told your solicitor you had safeguarding concerns after you left? Well, when they decided that they were going to move in with this other fella. Oh, I see.
That is it. But for me, it wasn't that. For me, it was whenever she didn't do contact. But people do that. And I think what I was trying to say as well, though, men, you're right. It should be the men and women should both come out of family court being fucking ashamed. Yeah, I cry nearly every time if I'm physically in court. If I'm physically in court and I'm doing someone else's case and the judge is summing up, I will have to look to the sky literally nearly every time. Yeah, because it will be similar. What they say is similar each time, depending on what type of situation it's in. But it reminds me of my own personal situation. Yeah, when I was in there for the first time, and fucking hell, it's scary. So I walked out gutted. But regardless of that, women will complain. I mean, Lindsay complained for whenever I got a good CAFCAS report, she complained about the CAFCAS report, about the CAFCAS officer. Whenever I got a bad CAFCAS report or social services report, I complained about the social worker or the CAFCAS officer. So you're always going to have a winner, and you're always going to have someone happy, and always going to have someone sad. You shouldn't have that. You should have it as the feedback you get on there should be, you take it as it is, it's feedback, and then you try and act on it. No.
Yes.
You're still in the room.
Yeah. No. I was just thinking about that. Then I was just thinking about the aspect of feedback. And do you find you absorb things after court cases? Because I find it really hard. Yeah.
In the evening after, I absorb. I'm a reflector. I reflect.
Yeah. Because I find it really difficult. That's why I think it's handy if you've got someone like you there, or an advocate that can relay. Because a lot of people, and myself included, I go into a little bit, especially if it's about me, not if it's about someone else, but if it's about me, you become quite like, I don't know, it's like zony. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're surviving to be. And I've noticed it with a few people that I've assisted, that I feel really sorry for them with the court process, because it's so scary and so alien that sometimes they can completely lose track of what they're supposed to be doing when they come out of court, because they then are waiting for the other party to write a court order, and they're kind of like, so what happened? You know, was that different to last time?
Some does pass people over. Some people think it goes wrong, and it's actually not going wrong at all. It's really, really good. But I think that all comes in time and practice, and time does it all. I mean, what's your thoughts on people getting treated like really bad because they've got a criminal history? Do you think that happens? Or do you think they should be getting treated the same regardless of the criminal history?
I don't see them being treated badly, if I'm honest. I think for my clients that have got criminal histories and they're on probation, I've always found it so much easier to get them assistance, because they've got military of justice.
the judges, but the way the judges speak to them, the way they get treated by the judges and all that sort of stuff, is that not? Do you think they get treated any worse? Like on the surface, not in terms of the final order, but in how they get spoken to.
I think they get treated a lot better.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I've only got a couple, but the two or three I've got, they've ended up being, they get spoken to in a worse way than I got spoken to. Really bad. Really bad. Yeah. And I'm like, blew me away, not me away. I've never, because normally I'm used to now going to court and everything's all rosy, everything's rosy. And these couple of people I've got, because they've got a colourful past or whatever, it's they're not getting spoken to in the same way as what I'd normally expect. And I'm like, this is a bit odd. And all I'm putting it down to is there's only these 3 people that have all got, could on paper look worse than what it actually is. You break a nail on someone's, you break a nail, a plastic nail, you get a court, you get a minimal fine in court, you still got a criminal conviction. On paper, that looks terrible. But they're getting treated, because the judges don't know it's just a broken nail and how exaggerated and out of place it's been taken, they're treating that person like a toe bag. Does that make sense? Yeah,
no, it does make sense, but it's not what I've witnessed. I don't think judges speak to anyone very nicely that I've ever met, but the outcomes have always been comparably better.
I think the district judges are the nicest. District judges are the nicest. They're direct and they're really direct and they're really sort of straight talking. But I like that. I like it. But
I don't mind non-fluffiness. It's not me that gets offended by it.
I know. Modern society, the folk of today.
The folk of today are fucking fanny farts. They can't deal with direct conversation at all. And the thing is when you're dealing with children, you have to be pretty direct. Did you smack them? No. You know, they don't like, did you say, you're accusing me of something? No, he's asking you a fucking question. And I think this is where we get namby-pamby. You are on trial. Both parents are. You have to put your best foot forward, not react. It's part of the test. And a lot of people walk glumphing you straight into it. And I think it's quite nice that I don't knock it that they're quite stern, because I do think some people do need a kick up the arse.
I think even we were saying something the other day, even when the hearings don't go our way, or the way we want them to go, you can reflect on it and you look at it and think that's still child focused. You can see the argument. You can, whether you agree with the argument or not, you can see it.
But then, I mean, on the other flip side, I do heavily follow judges that make the same rulings time and time again, who have shares in adoption agencies that are adoptive parents whose friends and family members are also looking to adopt, and it's all a bit too convenient and coincidental.
Yeah, we know how smelly that is, though. I'm not getting involved. I know how smelly. You know how smelly fucking public law is.
But the thing is, it's the whole thing. If we had it open, it wouldn't be a problem, would it? Let's be honest. If we had a jury, none of this. The judge's opinion and the way he conducted the courtroom wouldn't fucking matter, because it would be beyond reasonable doubt. Everything would have to be evidence based. I've looked from the cases that I've dealt with so far. Right, I've looked, say, of 200 cases as a block, and I've looked at 200 in blocks. So I've tried to see best possible outcome, the judge's decisions, how they rule moving forward, like kind of like trying to see if there's any connections or, you know, just trying to see what kind of data that I can get out of it. And of the 200 cases, right, from what I've seen, right, going through their cases, these are some of them, hindsight is a wonderful thing, but historical. Yeah. If we'd have applied 86% beyond reasonable doubt to the findings, so I've gone on the findings of the final hearing, then only 1.895%, right? 1.895% would result in a negative outcome of removal from the 200 removal cases that I've seen, right? That's because it would have been the evidence would have been looked at, and then the whole thing would have been dismissed. So that means that you can prove how flawed the system is, that if you apply beyond reasonable doubt to 200 cases that have the flip of a coin, closed family court 51%, gone, not even meeting threshold. That's terrifying. And then you look at those cases and think, what was the main reason they went? And it's parental conflict. And you think, wow, Jesus, they're really separating themselves. So Yeah, and there's so many people that genuinely deserve to have their children back, that have been the victims of domestic abuse, that have been silenced, that have been gagged, that have taken bad representation, that aren't bad parents. And that exaggeration of the family court and how it can make people look can ruin their case completely, and they're not bad parents. And if we weren't judging them on how well they cope with the family court, because that's what it is,
you can't. I mean, I was terrible. You can't judge anyone. When you go for that high emotive thing, when you're going for that change, when you're going through that shit, you can't criticize anyone. Anything I say, any advice I give to anybody, it's easier said than done. You can say it in hindsight. You can look at it and say, you know, I've done that different, blah blah, and I advise people, but you're not going to be able to do it. No one's going to be able to do it. It's money and kids. You can't talk about money and kids and not get emotive about it. And Josh is saying something here. All I want is my youngest to be with me and my eldest. Jason, can I send you a video from tonight's and Wednesday's contact eye video call yet? No, I'm sorry. I don't believe that. No parent should leave court feeling bad or small, or both leave happy, or child's in both parents. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Josh. But I think some parents,
I mean, indirect reference to that. I mean that we have this thing about I won. Okay, and it's a family court. It's the best interest of the child. They shouldn't be fucking winners. You shouldn't be coming out feeling pumped. You shouldn't have even had to go there in the first place. The fact that you couldn't sort out parenting with your ex-partner, the person you made your child with, shouldn't make you feel great. It really shouldn't. So no fucking winners.
But no one's going to feeling winners. But you're going to feel. When I come out of court with a 50-50, when I come out of court with what I got, I was fucking happy. I was like, yeah, I win that. In fact, every time,
forgetting what rightfully should be yours.
Actually, hang on a minute.
So having to fight what was rightfully yours, Jason, you felt happy.
What?
And how's that made you feel going on since? Come on, let's be honest. That process really made you feel great, did it?
No.
You were broken. Every time you go into a courtroom, you cry and you look up. You've just said, let's rewind that. So make your mind up. You either felt happy or it's ruined your life and it's carried on ruining your life. People have got to make their mind up.
No, don't listen to what I'm saying. It's ruined my life. It's absolutely ruined my life.
Don't contradict yourself.
But,
this is my point. This is my
you
point
get
with men.
Win,
we cannot have fucking winners. And when people say they feel happy coming out of court, then that is fucking worrying.
The trigger. It's a trigger. Right, fine. What I'm trying to say, don't misinterpret what I'm saying.
Jason,
you take my words literally. You take my words literally.
Okay. So don't take people's words literally. So why say them then? Okay, I've got to make this clear. If we want reform in the family court, then we can't keep on saying it makes us feel really shit, but I was really happy when I came up. Okay, you shouldn't have to have fought for 50-50. That should have been on the table from the moment you got in. The court made a load of money out of you and your ex because of your constant persecution of each other. You degraded yourself and you knocked each other down. And then in that process, you fought, Jason, so hard for something that triggers you every time you go into a courtroom. Would you say fundamentally that emotion was happiness?
No.
So don't say you came out feeling happy to appease viewers.
You have to take, when you go through the family courts, you're going to have battles. There's lots of little battles, yeah?
It's all about
battles. They should not be battles. They're little battles. Every single court hearing is a battle. Yes, yeah. And some battles you walk out of thinking, I've just been done over there, been turfed over. Some battles you walk out thinking, I've got a result there. That's a win. But no one's ever winning. No one's ever winning. The child is the one
but that's what I'm saying, is that they are. This is the thing, is they are. And this is where we, as much as it isn't right, we need to change the narrative. Because for every win or lose battle, okay, I want you to imagine this. I want you to imagine, this is going back to the inner child, being that child and you're with the parent you want to be with, and the other parent is battling for something you don't fucking want. And everyone's thinking about your best interest, but not about your best interest. Because if they cared, they'd stop battling and they'd allow 50-50 contact.
Yeah. But yeah, I totally agree. I mean, same as now with Lila. Lila's 13 years old. She's 14 years old at the end of this month. I can't tell her what to do. She's had to mature quicker than what she should have done. She hasn't been encouraged to have a relationship with me, so that's her normal is not to have that relationship with me. She's grown up and she's matured. So I can't go and tell her, you've got to be here, because she'll be miserable when she's here. Forcing her to be here now would be
yeah, but then you've respected her wishes, because your emotional pull, she's already told you. She's been brave enough to tell you what the process was like for her, and you are selfless as a parent because you're not putting her through that anymore. And I know loads of parents that see and hear it from the other side, and it seems like they're giving up, but actually they're doing the kindest thing, because if you have a narc that will not act in the best interest of the child and is contact denying all the time, then that child, like with Lily, they constantly are playing piggy in the middle, and it's tiring for them.
Yes, that's the answer. And it's not right. It's not right at all. I mean, Lila self-harmed me. Like, when I saw that, and no one told me, I was like, what? And you see that, and you still can't even make a little bit of effort. No, that's wrong.
Because it's never their fault. It's never their fault. It's never and the best parents are the ones that, even if it's not their fault, take the blame for it. You'll see that. They feel guilt. They go, oh my God, I feel so awful. What didn't I do? What did I miss out on? And 9 times out of 10, it won't be that parent. You can guarantee it. The parent that's blaming themselves, it's never that fucking parent. The parent that picks up the phone and screams down the phone at the ex and has a go but doesn't address themselves is all part of the problem. And this is why kids just don't fucking say anything. Instead, their outlet is self-harm, and they go on social media.
And suicide. Teenage suicide will increase as well. Everyone goes about men's suicide, female suicide, and blah blah blah. But there's teenage suicide.
You watched that thing with Sophie, didn't you? I mean, how many 16-year-olds have 5 friends that commit suicide, that are in and out of care? And she's been close and self-harming. She's been very, very open about that. And there are lots of children speaking out about the fact that they self-harm. 1 in 2, 50-50 chance of you self-harming if you're below the age of 18 at the moment. Okay, and how many nicks away is it from a vein? So are a lot of these kids self-harming and then it goes wrong? Or are they suicidal? Either way, we're not eradicating self-harming, we're actively encouraging it in society. So how are we going to eradicate? And we're not making the welfare for them any better. There's nowhere for teenagers to go. It was David Cameronhead, wasn't it, who closed nearly all of the funding for youth projects. So youth centres, youth clubs. There's nothing for kids to do. I used to
go to get drunk. Yeah. We used to go to youth centre when I was growing up and get
drunk.
Rite of
passage. Yeah, rite of passage, youth club. Go get pissed with your mates and half a bottle of vodka.
Yeah. MD 2020 and
Hooch.
Baby Sham.
Baby Sham,
man. Baby Sham. They were the ones.
I like the little leaping deer thing on it.
Yeah, unicorn or whatever. Not unicorn, was it? It was a reindeer. Bambi, that's it. Bambi. Yeah. Well, look, we're getting to the end of you've done well to keep me talking for another hour.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's fine. I'm cool with it. You've done well. It's flown by. It's nice to speak to you again, Vicky.
It is nice speaking to you again. I speak to you nearly all the time, so I don't.
Who's Kelly Rustling? You are a joke. Wait. Who's Kelly Rustling? Who's Kelly Rustling? She says you are a joke, Victoria. Is that a negative comment or is that a positive comment?
That's one of my. That's Billy's missus, the one where he laughed at her and then got back with her.
Oh, this is a negative comment.
Yeah, gang rape. Yeah.
Oh.
One of the trolls.
I don't need to. Sure. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So these are things that are quite common. I know, it's amazing. But I'm glad that we're talking again after our massive online media breakup. It's like okay and hello.
After our media, after a disagreement. I've not even a disagreement. Not even a disagreement. It wasn't even a disagreement.
No, I was even nice.
You got your opinion. I knew your opinion.
I complimented all your admins because I think they're great. Not that they think the same behind my back, but then that's society, isn't it? I'm very, very upfront. I don't think people realise how upfront I am, and I don't hold grudges. I know you know that, but a lot of people don't realise that. I couldn't give a fucking shit. I think it's because I'm so I know what I'm doing, and I'm on the right path that I really couldn't give a shit.
It's the same. Always the same. Literally. To ask them if you were to sit them all in the room, all in the room, and say to them, what is it they specifically know about you to be fact, to be true, to be honest and factual, true, and what is it that they don't like about you?
They just don't like me.
Answer the question. No.
No. They can name all the things. So because I've done the same. Well, you're gappy toothed, your eyes are too big, you look like an owl. I think that's a massive look, and I do look. Watch this.
Well, yeah, you do put it off. Yeah, you do. But these are all physical attributes.
Yeah, it's all physical attributes. Or they say that I'm no, there are some good ones. That's what I mean. None of them are, non-imaginative. They should get into creative. So I'm a witch. I fly. And I'm a crackhead that drives a getaway car. A really good getaway driver. There was a man murdered, and I drove the getaway car in Devon. I find amazing that I can do these things. Don't you find that amazing that I can do these things?
Some of the things I've heard, I'm blown away by. Some Facebook.
But do you know what? I keep them coming. Oh yeah, no, the latest. Have you heard the latest about the 17-year-old boyfriend?
No.
I've got a 17-year-old boyfriend.
Not me.
Yeah, and he's got a Facebook profile and everything, and he's in a relationship with me, but it's pending because obviously I don't know anything about it. And they photoshopped pictures of me and this 17-year-old together.
Well, this is one point though. This is the point. They've got too much time on their hands. I mean, I don't know if you had a boyfriend. I mean, I'd probably meet him or something. Do you know what I mean? But
you might be like, oh, Jace, this is my child boyfriend. My man-child bride.
This is my being a cougar. This is me being a cougar. I'm not being funny.
Why would a 17-year-old want to get with a hairy old lady that's the same age as their mum? I mean, come on. You know, it's not realistic. And plus, don't you think anyone would notice that was around me? Or like you, that turns up to my house. You know, we've got nothing to hide. But I do love the stories to keep them coming. When I
was a 17-year-old bloke, I mean, I was 18, 19, 21, I was going after older women, 45.
Okay, well, that doesn't
there was one 45-year-old, which I found was like a really good night, actually, to be honest with you. I was 22.
Well, that isn't on the table. I was just talking
about this stuff.
I was talking from a comic perspective about something. I don't have time to blow my nose, let alone have an orgasm. So there's no chance of that happening with or without. Definitely not with a 17-year-old. God, they can't even find their own bloody belly button, let alone mine.
Stamina. What was I going to say? The what about this one?
Did you just say stamina under your breath?
What? You're saying everyone's criticizing your physical appearance, yeah? But has any of these people who's criticized your physical appearance, have they looked in the mirror recently?
But you can't say that because that's cruel.
No, I'm asking the question. I'm not saying anything.
But this is the thing a lot of people don't realise, and this is where I feel sorry for them, and then they hate me even more. Because if they are having a go at my physical appearance, then whatever it is they're having a go at me about, that's where they feel insecure. So if people call me a gappy tooth cunt, I know they feel insecure about their teeth. If people call me a bug eye, then they feel worried about their bug eyes. If people say I'm fat, then they're worried that they're fat. Literally, I feel so sorry for them because we only see in others what we see in ourselves.
Lady B, can you ring group when free, please? Does Lady B ring groups for people, does she?
Hello, darlings. Hello. I'm here to sort you all out.
I'm not part of this sleep, but fucking hell. It's because we don't talk to each other anymore. It's because we have different opinions about...
Now I'm a feminist that only has sex with men for money, whereas before I was doing it for free. I've started invoicing exes. Going, that night was definitely worth 50 quid. I hear people are making a lot of money out of it, and you got a lot for nothing. So yeah, I'm sending out invoices, all in the help of raising money. And for those of you that don't know, while I'm on your platform and I can do a bit of plugging, every day I am doing squats, and I've been doing 100 every day since the start of May. And I would really appreciate people to pledge and sponsor and share for awareness of the plight of the family courts for reform, because massive things are occurring. But we need to be a charity, which means I need to raise £5,000. We have hundreds of aggrieved peeps and weeps that need help. Loads more than I was ever anticipating. And I don't want them to be left without the assistance that they truly deserve. And I can't keep getting to everyone. And I can't get to everyone all the time. It's really pissing me off. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I sent you a link to Calendly. Did you get that?
Yeah, I'm not going on to your shit.
No, it's not my shit. You can have your own one. You can have your own one. You can put your own things in there.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't want to do that because where I've got so many court cases, I've got all my appointments in my calendar. I fill them in, and then I just don't double book myself.
Well,
and when people come in and I go, "Can you do this?" I say, "I'm really sorry, but there's a waiting list." Whereas you go, "Yes, I can."
I've got to find a way.
Yeah, I've been finding a way 7 days a week, all through the nights and days, and I can't. I've got, and You know how some cases can go and the amount of evidence you need and how skeletal and position statements can change, and you know the things that can impact a case and what needs to be done and how hard work it can be. And I attend all of the meetings, not just the court cases, so you get to know families quite well in some instances, like really well, and you've got to dedicate that time. You can't just run 100 miles an hour and then let them down at the last hurdle, because it's the last hurdle that's the most important, I believe.
I don't let anyone down, by the way.
I know you don't let anyone down, but in the same time, you're going to turn into a wisp of a human, a flap of skin that floats around.
I'm just a soul. I'm already that. I'm just a soul.
The nits have taken it out of you, haven't they?
No, fuck off. No one has, now you've got viewers here talking about nits. What the fucking hell? Jesus Christ.
But you were talking about nits earlier. Okay. Have we got viewers? I can't see anything.
Oh yeah, so we went down a bit when there was no one on when I said it before, and now you've gone back and
we've got.
Now you've repeated it.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, because they're not going to watch this again from the beginning and see it, are they?
No, of course not, because I joined it halfway through. What man would just we'll go back to the beginning? This is porn. You're not going to go back to the beginning.
Yeah, but it's not just men that watch your things, you know, Jason.
Right.
You know, some women like to watch you as well.
I bet they do.
Yeah, there's a group of us getting together to lobby Parliament to get cameras put in your flat, just for shits and giggles. Just would be fun. Just so we can watch the day in the life of Jason, watching the cat wake you up.
I've got multiple cameras here, right? Do you know what? I was trying to set it up before I started. I've got 2 cameras here, right? And I was trying to set it up from different angles and whatever. So I was trying, it didn't work. But I was fine. But I was thinking about it as well. I was going to do that. 10 love Jason. This is 10 love Jason. Dribbling like hot. Dribbling.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a lady. Jack's black. I'm a lady.
I'm a lady.
So,
Jax is a lady. Yeah, Jack's black is a lady. So she's watching. She's a lady. See?
I'm a lady.
Who fins the pudding?
Yeah, we were talking about basically, right? So for those who don't want to watch the beginning, because I'm going to go in a minute because I need to go.
I need to go 5 minutes ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I've got a cat. Right? I'm not going to tell the story. Go back to the beginning and watch it. You got to go. I've got to go. You put me under pressure now because you look like you don't want to be here. So I'm going to go.
No, I love putting you under pressure. I do need to pick your brains about something else though. Just before you leave, okay. That is obviously is public. Is it true that you're working for MI5?
No, they wouldn't fucking want me, would they?
Well, I think you'd be the best undercover agent ever, because you'd look so obvious as the piss person at the party that's impersonating Liam that you'd be able to collect loads of information for them.
No, what it is, every time I go to a pub, every time I go to a new pub or something, they're like, he's a copper. I'm not a copper. I'm not. Now I'm getting told I'm MI5. Is that a rumour? Is that something that's real? No, I'm not being funny. No, that's not true. No.
Okay, I'm glad you cleared that up. He's not an undercover agent. No. Okay, call that off. Yeah, no, just letting my MI5 agents know.
Really?
I mean, if you're an MI5 agent, I hope you'd be doing other things than what you're doing. And I don't want to point out the obvious. I don't think there's any MI5 agents that are standing up for fathers and families' rights.
No, they're not.
It's a bit of a funny cover.
I'm working for a couple of policemen. I'm working for a couple of policemen who are office bound, not allowed out of their office, based on the fact they've got allegations against them that are impacting their work. It shouldn't be allowed.
No, but statistically, more police officers are bent than the general population, and more.
I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that at all. I'm not disputing that in the slightest.
So that's a really hard one, isn't it, for you morally? I'd find myself constantly eating sausages and bacon sandwiches around them as well, just because of my sense of humour. I'd go bacon and cheese twist. Anyone? Into a bit of cannibalism? Big B? Bacon?
No, I can assess. I can tell when people are being honest and real. I think I can. Until I find out that they're not.
How do you tell? Is it their eyes?
No. Their stories change. How they talk changes, and their stories change. And the story's changed too much.
I love
You asked me a very
story
obvious
change.
question. I know. You asked me a very obvious question, and they changed the answer every time. So anyway, we're getting the trolls coming in now. Do you want to stay on for the trolls because they're all coming in? Do you want to stay a little longer just to wind them up? Because we've got Common Archant just come in.
Is he a troll? I didn't think he was a troll.
I don't know. Is he?
David Dorrington. No, I didn't think he was a troll, but he might be.
No. I don't know.
You don't know who anyone is.
I just blocked him because I thought I don't know. I just blocked him. If he's apologise.
He might not like me, but I didn't think he was a troll, as in he went actively out of his way to troll people. You know, I think there's a lot of people that have good intentions.
Yeah, right. He just says, yeah, right. Some sort of comments, yeah, right. I don't know what he's commenting to or what for, but
yeah, maybe he agreed.
Maybe
he changes his mind on whether he likes me or not, like the wind.
He's a typical man.
Did you just say that? Can you take that soundbite? I'm going to use it in the thing and put it on your father's rights page.
Typical man?
Who's a typical man? What? He changes what he thinks and his opinions to go with the wind. Woohoo! You heard it here first, ladies. Jason Appleyard, you just admitted near the end of the line. You are. That is the most honest thing I've heard anyone say. And do you know what? We're all human. None of us are fucking perfect. And there's good and bad in all of us. But that is, I think, that is a very honest statement to make.
You got to learn. You can't just say, oh, I know everything. I know the answers to everything in life. I've never made a fucking mistake ever. No, you can't. You have to change your opinion based on fucking what you learn. Do
you know what? I actually love making mistakes, because if you enjoyed it, it wasn't a mistake. If you didn't, you know not to do it again.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. Exactly. Any walk of life, anything with that as well.
Yeah. Anything. Food.
Oh, yeah. Exercise. You won't try it twice if you didn't like it the first time.
Exactly. But for some reason, there's this narcissism in relationships where people keep going back and repeating the same things and expecting a different result, which is the definition of madness.
Yes.
I'm going to keep on slagging people off.
There's no what Facebook uses now. I can't see the name now. I'm not Billy's missus, and I get your facts right, and never gang raped, but thank you for that, Victoria Moore. P, thank you very much. She goes around intimidating innocent mothers and fathers. That, again, I'm not being funny. It's not warranted here. Doesn't need it here. Don't want it here. Keep your opinions to yourself. I've
just so we can
draw it. I'm not getting involved with shit.
No, I wouldn't focus on that. I just focus on what you were talking on before. What I was saying is that when we have negative thoughts about people, or we're obsessed, or we talk a lot about things, like in your case, you know, people going back repeating the same mistakes, it can be really frustrating. I'm sure you've had it as well, where people don't listen to what you're saying. And so then, like with those people, they blame you for their lack of impetus in everything. And, you know, that's no different. Men do it, women do it. And what we need to do is make sure that our sons and daughters don't do it, or that they're not exposed to that. Or any of the
when
shit,
you've got people who just are literally angry. Imagine what their children are going to tell them. I'm worried about Lila. Like, literally, Lindsay's an angry woman. She's an angry woman, right? I'm worried about what Lila's going to turn into. You got parents who are that angry that don't even know you, and they don't even know parts of you. They've heard rumours of you. They must be angry. I'm talking about you. The kids are going to pick up on that if they've got the kids. If they haven't, then there's probably a reason why.
No, you're absolutely right. Right. And then on that happy note, we will both go because you're busy and I'm busy. And don't worry about the trolls, and keep happy. And it's nice to see you and speak to you. Hopefully see you again soon in real life.
Yeah, I think it's the next couple of weeks, so I'm down there that way soon. So.
Yeah, come down and play. We'll go to the beach or something.
Okay, we will. Anyway, look, see you later. Peace and love. Lila's love.
Love you, everyone. Bye.
Love you, bye. Bye. That was quick when I get myself off. Oh, the cat.